Hello friends, it's baking time. Hopefully the mic sounds better today than it did the last time. I've made some adjustments and it looks like I'm peaking a little too much. So actually let me adjust a little further here. Okay, maybe that looks like maybe we're not peaking as much, maybe a little bit more. It's always an adventure in tech land when you haven't gotten a tried and true method down pat yet. Time to make snacks. That's right, Carrie. How are you doing, friend? How goes it? Hopefully the music to my voice ratio is also good. I think we worked that out last time. So, if you follow me on Twitter, you will know, or if you just read my tweets in the Discord, you will know that I couldn't spell cream the correct way in my title because Twitch has relegated that to probably sexual, which I think is hilarious. And like, I know that what I'm doing is not sexual. You guys know that what I'm doing is not sexual. The title kind of indicates that we're not doing anything sexual, but like, I get it, but it still makes me laugh. So we couldn't put CREAM in, we had to do CREME to get around the naughty connotations. So that amused me to no end this morning, and I'm glad that I had set this up ahead of time so that I knew that, so that it wasn't like 10 minutes ago and me going, oh my God, you know what I mean? Had meeting today and son, ooh, nice, Carrie. Very nice. So we are making chocolate cream pie with an Italian meringue. And this pie has a little bit of a funny backstory to it in two parts. So part number one, the first time I ever made pie in my life was for Pie Day, which is March 14th, 314, at my old company. I just decided that Pie Day was going to fall on a work day. I wanted to provide pie for my coworkers. This is when I still liked the place. And it hadn't become a completely toxic shithole. And so I asked my mom if she would help me make a chocolate cream pie. I think actually I made 2 chocolate cream pies and 1 banana cream pie, and it uses this recipe. And she was like, sure. And so we made the pie crust. Except, well, originally I wasn't making the banana cream pie crust because I had bought a graham cracker crust for it. Unbeknownst to me, remember, I've never made pie before in my life. 20-year-old Sam decided that to get the paper out of the graham cracker pie crust that I had bought commercially and make sure that there was none under it, I should tip the pie crust upside down to lift it out of the pie tin to make sure there was no paper under it. Newsflash, your pie crust will fall apart if you do that. So I ended up having to make a graham cracker pie crust from scratch, and we used my mom's pie crust recipe for the 2 chocolate creams, which I'm not using that pie crust recipe today because I don't actually like my mom's pie crust that much. Hers is Crisco based, and I am a butter pie crust kind of girl. So we'll be using a pie crust recipe from my friend Gwen, who I called at 7:30 in the morning about 8 years ago in the spring summertime because Seamus and I had just gotten together. We're in that like beautiful honeymoon phase of a relationship, and I decided I was gonna make him strawberry rhubarb pie, not realizing that he didn't have a pie plate. He didn't have a recipe book with a pie crust recipe. He didn't have pastry anything. There was not even an electric hand mixer in this apartment. Like, I had fuck all. So I called my best friend Gwen at 7:30 in the morning and I was like, I need a rolling pin, I need a pie plate, and I need a recipe for pie crust. And this girl came through for me. That literally happened. Yes, Smeagol will be wandering through. February 22nd, that's awesome, Carrie. So, funny story number 2 with this cream pie. I think it was last year. It might have been the year before last. I think it was the year before last. It's been over a year. We're just gonna go with that. My brother and Seamus's brother came over to help with some attic remodeling. And I promised my brother I would make a chocolate cream pie for him. Come that day, I had a really bad bout with insomnia the night before. I had to work that day. I was on struggle bus mode going up Struggle Mountain with like no horsepower in that engine. It was not a good time. So my brother got salad that Seamus made. And although it was a good salad, which there is a clip of him commenting on this, he did not get his chocolate cream pie, and he has never let me forget that. As well he shouldn't, because I promised him pie and he was given salad, and that's kind of disappointing. So he deserves his chocolate cream pie. He and my soon-to-be official sister-in-law are coming over for dinner and games tomorrow night. So I'm going to make sure that there's not 1, but 2 chocolate cream pies available for my brother. 1 for us to eat here after dinner, of which I am treating them to oyakodon, and 1 for them to take home so that they can enjoy it at home and also share it with my father, who adores this pie, but he will neither eat anything that doesn't fall under your standard American restaurant cuisine. So like if it's not steak and potatoes, he doesn't want it, or pasta, but very specific forms of pasta. He doesn't want any of that chicken Alfredo bullshit. He wants spaghetti and meatballs, like, or lasagna. That's about it. But not only that, he is allergic to onions, which is a key ingredient in oyakodon. So in addition to he wouldn't choose to eat it, he literally cannot eat it. Therefore, he is not coming to dinner tomorrow night. Therefore, having a pie to send home with my brother makes up, I think personally, for the fact that it's been over a year since I promised him that pie, and my father would like some. So, that being the case, what are we working with? We have the pie crust recipe.
All my hearts for you, my wonderful
pie!
fiancé,
Exactly, Seamus. We have the pie crust recipe. This is the recipe from my dear sweet bestie Gwen, which is why it's on a card. And then we have the cream pie recipe in the memorial cookbook that I made, which is my mom's recipe that she got from her mother, according to the information on here. And then the Italian meringue is going to be coming from this cookbook by Anne Reardon called Crazy Sweet Creations. Anne Reardon is the person behind How to Cook That on YouTube. Highly, 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 highly recommend looking her up. Although she broke my heart today. I watched one of her debunking videos, and she was going into why your cookies might spread more than others and why they may not look like the photo attached to the article or whatever, or in the cookbook even. The photo thing is just because people are cheap and they would rather pay for stock photography than they would pay for an actual food photographer to take their photos. The thing that broke my heart, though, in going over that, is the fact that apparently not all measuring utensils are made equally. So some tablespoons are 30 mils, and some tablespoons are 20 mils, for example. And I'm like, that's garbage. A tablespoon should be a tablespoon, should be a tablespoon. And this goes across for cup measurements and all sorts of things. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So yeah, very sad about that. Name the pie Seamus. The pie is not a pal. You're such a turkey. Smeagol, why are we crying? Why are we crying, little boy? I literally just sat and gave you lap time and everything else prior to this. Yeah, I did. Okay, so the first step is, of course, making our pie crust, because you can't make a pie without a pie crust. And while I am making the pie crust, I need to get my water boiling. And you might be like, boiling water? What the heck? All the squeakies, I know, you probably can hear him. So with making this custard that we're going to make, you need to do it in a double boiler, or if you do not have a double boiler, a bain-marie. And a bain-marie is literally kind of the same thing as a double boiler, just using different equipment. So both items have to have a pot in the bottom with boiling water. And I have my pot situated on the stove. I'll bring it over so you can see approximately. This is a 3-quart pot. And I filled it roughly a third of the way with water. I'm going to start this boiling because we need steam to cook the custard. That's the goal, is steam. And the double boiler specifically has a piece that fits on it properly. So this came with the pot. This area sits down into the pot. The steam will hit the bottom and it will cook the items on the inside. So I'm gonna put this on to act as a lid to keep all the steam and the moisture in there. And that's gonna get going while we work on our pie crust, because we want this ready when we're ready to start the custard part. So let me start the stove up for that. Very exciting stuff. I put it over roughly like a medium heat to get it going. I am also going to start my oven to preheat to 350 degrees. And the reason we are preheating the oven is this is not a baked pie. Therefore, we need to blind bake our pie crust. So now that that stuff can get going, we can start making the pie crust. Name the cat. Seamus. You named the cat Smeagol, okay? You already named the hairy beast that cries at my feet. He's literally laying right under like my laptop area, staring at the oven and stove. So, starting with pie crust recipe, we need, and this is all just literally being dumped into my KitchenAid. Remember, I told you I did this originally without any electric equipment, so I promise you, you can make this work. You can do it with a pastry cutter, which is, I don't think I have one anymore. Do I have one? I don't know if I still have the pastry cutter or not. Because it was looking pretty rough when we got it secondhand, and I don't know if it survived. Or if I said bye-bye. Yeah, I think I said bye-bye. So a pastry cutter is literally like a wooden or a metal handle that you hold on to, and it's got metal wires that basically make a crescent shape, and you roll it in your dough to cut the butter into your flour. If you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use 2 forks and just you cross the forks and you just keep splitting them, kind of like you're making pulled pork or something in the flour. And if that's just too obnoxious or annoying, you can literally put your hands in the flour in the bowl and crumble, like just rub the flour into the butter until you get a dough. So you have multiple options. You do not need a KitchenAid, but I have a KitchenAid, so I'm using a KitchenAid. So that being said, flour, 2 cups. Don't drop the glass piece heavily on the stone counter island thing. My apologies. My ears hurt from that too. 1 cup. Two cup. I will be refilling this at some point soon. Oh, the lid didn't break, so that's the important part. Set that off to the side. We need 1/4 cup of water, preferably cold. Boop. Set that to dry because literally the only thing that measuring cup had in it was water. And then you need 2/3 of a cup of butter, also preferably cold. Now I will tell you, oh, and a pinch of salt. In theory, this calls for a teaspoon of salt, but you guys, this is salted butter. If you are like me and you are using salted butter, it is a pinch of salt, not a teaspoon, because holy crap, you will have a salty dough. So I'm going to, woo, good enough. Basically, so long as it's not a full teaspoon, it works. In it goes. And now I'm gonna cut this. And I have noted from doing a pie ahead of time, which is because I need it to cool to do the meringue. And like I said, I'm making 2 pies anyways. My dough is coming out a little stiff. So I'm actually going to give it a little more than 2/3 of a cup. I am going to give it more like, I don't know, 2/3 in a tablespoon. A little fat goes a long way, and the fat is what gives your dough the pliability. I'm gonna put these 2 little nubbies in the fridge. That is quite the flame. We should turn you down. You got a little excited there, stove. So to make this work nicely, because the butter is like basically fresh from the fridge, it's fairly solid, I cut it into pats and I throw in the pats of butter so that my mixer has an easier time incorporating it, because it's not an entire stick of butter. So I will get the first one chopped up, and then I will work the second one in, and actually part of the first one as I go. Let me get a piece of paper towel. This just makes it easier. Give this a quick swirly swirl. Try and incorporate some of the water. Oop, oven's preheated. And some of the butter to prevent the flour from poofing up everywhere. Another fun fact, I love to eat pie. I am always happy to make pie, but of desserts available, pies rank up there with my least favorite to make. And then a low speed. Cookies are my favorite to make, followed by cakes, followed by pie, followed by cupcakes. I don't know what it is about pies and cupcakes. They're just not my favorite. And they're not hard. They're really not difficult. I just would rather make cookies or cakes. All right, there's one part of a stick. let's get the next part of a stick. In it goes. Sound effects necessary. Done. Oh, there it goes. And bloop. Okay. Wipe the grease off of my fingers. That's it. That's literally the entire recipe. We just need it to mix together until it forms a ball, and then we move on from there. Toss those in the garbage. We're done with this and this. They can go in the sink. We're at the crumbly stage. I know you guys can't see in here. Now I did turn the closed captioning on. Hopefully it is working with this mic. That's the goal. Obviously, people who watch the VOD won't be able to have the closed captioning because I'm pretty sure it's a live only thing, but at least we have it for part of it. Oh yeah, there's that dough load. You can hear the motor just slow down. We're almost there. You can overwork pie crust. So if that happens, if you feel like it's getting really tough and overworked, just let it sit for a bit. I learned that from an actual French cook and pâtissier who, oddly enough, had moved to the United States and was interested in Viking era reenactment. And that's how I met him. He was part of our group for a little bit, which, the odd ways you meet people in life, am I right? Oh yeah, that feels so much better than the last one. You want this to be pliable, but not like Play-Doh. Just a little firmer than Play-Doh, basically. Another thing that you can do if you don't have an electric mixer of any kind and you don't really want to do this by hand, you might be able to do it in a blender. There are pie crust recipes that you specifically use a blender to make them in. And while I have never tried to do this in a blender, I don't see why it wouldn't work. All right, so you can see it'll mold together. It's fairly pliable. Drop that back in the bowl for the moment. We need our pastry cloth and everything. And remember, I said I already did one, so the pastry cloth and the rolling pin are already out. This pie crust recipe, I almost said pie dough, and I'm like, it's not quite right. This pie crust recipe can make 2 very thin crusts, but that was the other thing I decided against. I was like, I don't want to fight to make 2 super thin crusts. So I remembered that my mother, when she used to make pies, if she had extra pie crust dough made that she hadn't used, she would make little turnovers with it. So I have my extra dough from the first one in a bowl. I will save the extra dough from this one in the same bowl, and I will probably make some little like jam-filled turnovers later. Seems to be working well. Heck yes, thank you for checking, Carrie. I appreciate that. Good. Because I would like my stream to be as accessible as it can be. So I'm gonna just try to really push this together as much as I can. Okay, good, you guys can see this. My goal here is to just eliminate as many cracks as possible. And the cracks are just, as far as I know, where the flour is more prominent than the fat or the water. It's just, you know, still absorbing. Flour can take a little bit to do that. But Mama ain't got time to just let this flour sit for God only knows how long to absorb stuff. Teds, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome on in. We're making pie. So there we go, rough ball. In the center, pat, oop, put my lid on prematurely. Pastry cloth to keep it from sticking to the island. Pastry cloth on the rolling pin to keep it from sticking to the pin. You see food, you follow. That is a very simple perspective, but I appreciate it. Welcome in. We're gonna just roll it out. And I struggle with pie crusts. I hate pie crusts. They are like the bane of my existence. And I mean, maybe I just need to take my mother's recipe and replace some of the Crisco with butter and see if I like the flavor, because her pie crusts were always easy to work with. I will give her that. I just don't like a Crisco-based pie crust. Similarly, we have a local pie shop around here that makes an oil-based pie crust, and I don't care for their pie crust either. I'm very, very particular about the flavor of my pie crust, which many people are. It is a thing. And so I will always make my own, even though I dislike pie crust crafting. How are you today, Teds? I hope you are doing well. Ugh. I am going to roll this out further than what I need. We will trim it. That's how pie crust works. You trim it, you fold it, you form it. And since I end up with these gorgeous fissures in it, I try to push it out far enough to get past them. Ugh. I am no professional though. I am a hobby baker. I do what I can with the information I have absorbed. Okay, that's probably big enough. Distressing here on Twitch. Understandable. Are you in the UK then if you're about to head to bed? Yeah. My pie plate easily fits around that. Here's the fun thing about pastry dough. It's foldable. Carefully. Because we don't want to exacerbate the little fissures here. But it won't stick to itself. Come on now. Oop. Remember, I'm not good with pie. So we're just gonna do this as best we can because it wants to break. Oh, pie crust. You always do like to thwart me. So I'm just kind of pressing it into the pie tin now. I'm gonna try to press that together. Press that together. Any place I see a break, I'm just trying to squish back into place. India, oh nice. Nice, well welcome in. All right, sharp knife. My edge is approximately there, so I want to come out a little bit from it. And this is actually a very satisfying part. The knife is sharp, so I am being careful not to cut myself. because the last thing Seamus wants to do is come home to me having had to take myself to urgent care for stitches, because I decided instead of baking, I wanted to do impromptu plastic surgery. Always be careful with sharp objects. Just piling it up. Oop. Self, you literally just said that you were going to be careful with the knife. All right. So I keep this next to me because I might need some of it. And then all we're going to do to start is you're just lifting it up and folding it under itself to make that rise a little and make it a little thicker. And I just want to kind of bring the cracking back together a bit. If necessary, I'll get a little bowl of water to use as like an agent to help bond it. This is the part where you can decorate as you see fit. A lot of people do the fluting, and I think that's what I'm going to do for this one. I forked the other one, but I really kind of want to play with fluting, I think it'll be pretty. And I've never really successfully done it, so where better to try my hand at it yet again than live on Twitch when I'm not sure I can manage it. YOLO! Gotta figure it out eventually if I want to do it in the future. Okay. So yeah, fluting is literally you pinch your two fingers together and you're gonna do a little insert. Oh, that's much easier than I thought. How do I know that this is how you do it? I looked it up on YouTube last night because I was like, how does one manage this? I see it all the time. I'm not stupid. Will it be the prettiest fluting ever? No. Am I doing it? Heck yeah, I am. I guess some people also use like their knuckle, but we're gonna do it this way. Stay together, pie dough. Stay together. That's a little bit of breakage. Won't be surprised if that one little section falls apart later, but you know what? It's gonna taste good. I can guarantee the taste, even if the look is not as pretty. There, we fluted it. Okay, so the next part, let's get these scraps pulled together. I didn't end up needing any to patch the pie crust. It needs to be poked and prodded a little bit to prep for blind baking. Now, the proper way to blind bake, I am aware, is to have like pie weights and blah, blah, blah. I don't have pie weights, okay? This is one of the things that I am missing. And because I don't make pie that much, I don't care. My mother never had pie weights either. And you know what? She also did not care. A fork. Stab the bottom pretty well. And it helps because it gives like steam escape areas, I guess. I don't know. Listen, I don't question things that work when they work. So I'm just poking. I'm not going through the pie crust, but I am going deep into the pie crust. So now you can see there's like little pinpricks. So I'm going to put this into the oven for about 15 minutes at 350 degrees. This is to blind bake it because you do want the pie crust to be baked so it's not raw. And then we'll get on to the next part. Cook time. 15 minutes. Start. My water needs to be turned back up. It needs to come to that boil. Okay. So we no longer need fork or knife, or for the present moment, KitchenAid bowl. We will need the KitchenAid bowl again in the future, but it can sit with some water in it for now. Give my hands a quick rinse wash. Get all the pie stuff off of them. Bloop. That can go in there. Tip this over the garbage to dump out any little remnants. Pie crust. Fold, 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 fold. Fold and fold. They can go right back in my pastry cloth. They are not that full of flour that I feel like I need to rinse them out. So into the bag, into the drawer. This is clean because of the pastry cloth. Hallelujah. Into the drawer. We're done with that. We are done with flour, so I'm going to just put that away. We get to move on to the actual cream pie portion. Oh, let me cover up the dough balls too, so they don't dry out. And stick them in the fridge for later. Because it might be a Sunday treat that I make. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Haven't decided. So with the crust scraps, I am saving them. And something my mother used to do that I am going to give a try is she would lay out a layer on a baking sheet, spread like a jam or marmalade or something in, and then put another layer on top and just kind of fork it down around the edges and bake it, and then cut it into squares, and it was like a turnover. It was very delicious. No scraps go to waste. All right, cream pie. We're gonna need 3 cups of milk, 3 egg yolks specifically. Do not toss your whites out. Do not get yolks in your white. We're gonna be using the whites for the Italian meringue. 4.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, 3/4 cup sugar, a pinch of salt, and a 1.5 teaspoon of vanilla, which goes in at the end, plus 2 baking squares. Yeah, I got my finesse for baking from my mom. She loved to do it. I love to do it, and I just kind of am carrying on the tradition. All right, I need stuff that I washed from earlier. Let me give it a quick dry. There's that. You, I think, are the 3/4. You are the 3/4. We'll need you. I need the tablespoons. There's that. There's that. I think you are the 1/2 teaspoon. You sure are. I'll need you. I need my whisk. And I need my spoon. Plus the monkey dishes, as they are called. Okay. So step 1, I put the milk in here because this has the measurements that we need, and then I put everything else in with the milk. So we're gonna bring it up to 3 cups of milk. I like whole milk. I've never tried to make this without whole milk, so I can't guarantee that if you make it with anything less than at least 3% milk fat, which is what is whole milk in the United States, that it will come out properly. For what it's worth. Seamus, might I also suggest on your way home, you pick up another 1/2 gallon of milk. Just so we don't run out during the weekend. Okay, so 3 cups of milk. Into this, we're going to put 3/4 of a cup sugar. Just regular old white granulated sugar. If you live in a country where caster sugar is easier to get your hands on, it's not easy to get your hands on where I live. That would probably be a better option, but if you don't have that ability like I don't, regular old granulated sugar. In it goes. Then we need 4.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. This is our thickener. 1, 2. 3, 4. And 1/2. I'm a little bit of a messy baker. A pinch of salt. A pinch, if you need a measurement, is 1/8 of a teaspoon. Good enough. Boop. Save that. All right, we need 3 egg yolks. Just going over my thing real quick. Yep. Here are my eggs. This is the really fun part. So because we're using the whites for the meringue, we absolutely cannot have any egg yolk in the whites. Therefore, you separate the eggs in one bowl, you tip the egg yolk into the mixture that's gonna become our custard. It is okay if there is egg white in the custard. Traces of egg white will be fine in there. You just cannot have traces of egg yolk in what's gonna be part of the meringue, because meringue will not form if there's egg yolk in it. Just don't want what appears to be a piece of something or other in my white. If I have to, I will use my hands to finish this process. Come on. Off you go. Into the monkey dish. I don't know why they're called monkey dishes. I just know that that's what I've heard them called. There it goes. So egg yolk. Then we're going to tip this egg white into our egg white savings bowl. And we're going to break the next one into this to make sure, again, that we don't get egg yolks in our whites, because if we get a yolk in the white, we only lose one white instead of everything that we've worked towards. Oh, you let go pretty nicely, didn't you? Boop. Stuck to my fingers a little bit. Meanwhile, I still see a piece of shell, which are so annoying to get out. Oop. Got it. But nobody wants eggshell in their meringue either, so this will be number 3. Oh, come on. There we go. Didn't want to crack open. When I grew up, I had like an egg separator tool, and I have one here, but I've actually found, now that I know this method, that just moving it between eggshells is the easier method for me, rather than using a special tool. Seeing someone use a, yes. So you can do it with a regular strainer, sort of, it would be difficult, but an egg separator tool, a tool specifically built for separating eggs. Which drawer is it in? Because I'm sure it's still here. I'll need you in a little bit so you can come out anyways. Here it is. It looks like this. So it's got these little slats around it. The egg yolk will sit in here, and then these have just a little bit of a sharp edge to kind of get the egg white to come out, but I find it easier to just do the pass it back and forth between the shell method. Let me put the eggs in the fridge. These are not farm fresh from Marissa, so therefore they are not safe to just keep out. I'm gonna rinse my fingers off of, ooh, hot egg white. There are a lot of different methods for separating egg whites too. There's no one right way or one wrong way. I watch Emmy Made on YouTube, and she likes to just crack her eggs into a bowl and then scoop her hand in and lift the yolks out. It works for her. Not my preferred method. Set that over there, put this in the sink. All right, I'm gonna now mix this. Of course, the cornstarch has formed a nice clump in the bottom. We gotta break up. This cornstarch so generously likes to do. Yeah, that's what I figured too, Seamus. It probably wouldn't strain easy. That doesn't mean it won't work. It just, there's probably easier ways. Yeah, Seamus, did you hear me about the milk? Yeah, they might have had something specific for it. There could be tools out there that many of us just don't know about because they're one of those local things that never made it to the commercial scene. Okay, so that's done. We need our chocolate. So we need 2 chocolate squares. I'm using 60% cacao. You don't ideally want to use anything less than 60%. My mom always used 60% for this, so I use 60% for it. That's how I know the flavor to be. Oh, pie crust is ready to come out. Ooh, forgot about it. Thank you. I hear that going off. 1 second, por favor. Oof. Set that there. Grace, thank you for the resubscription, friend, with your Prime. You only get 1 of those and you're donating it to me. I appreciate it. Hi, friend. Okay, pie crust is out. We gotta open up Baker's chocolate. Do I have the patience to try and peel this open? That's the real question. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, no. I thought I found a spot, but I did not. We need 2 squares. And you can see kind of the indent. So 2 squares. And then I can carefully fold this back over on itself. Fold it down there, and it can go right back in its box. I think, yeah, each 4-ounce bar contains 8 sections, ½ ounce each. 2 sections equals an ounce. So you could measure out, if you have like dry powder, you could in theory just measure out an ounce. But this recipe works better, as far as I'm aware, with actual baking squares. Grace, you're a lovely people. So I'm just gonna set those there. Before I take us over to the stove, which is where the rest of this is gonna happen, I want to put together, and you know, I think I'm just gonna use a shot glass for this, of sorts, yeah. This is the smallest one we have. This is the one I use. It's the one we got from Minnesota to put my vanilla in, because measuring the vanilla out over there is really obnoxious. So I need 1½ tablespoons of vanilla. It goes in at the end. So I'm just gonna put my 1½ teaspoons of vanilla in this shot glass. Oh, love the smell of vanilla. And now we're gonna get the fun task of moving from here to there. So I am going to bring my stuff over there first, and then I will spin the camera. There's that. I don't know what you're going to be looking at for a moment. I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. Let's see how far I can pull my laptop over, because that's what I'm looking at for stream. Slide this. Oh yeah, we can get the laptop right over here. Tip that back some more. All right, let me make sure you guys are looking at what you should be. This. And I'm gonna take and bring you up a little bit so that you can see in a little better. Because I think, yeah, okay. I think that'll do. I think that'll work. So this is our double boiler, just so you can see. We've got boiling water in it. It's creating steam, which is what we're going to use to cook this. I am standing on a step stool because I am short and I want to be tall. Oh, I need my spoon. Okay, so our custard mixture is gonna go in here. And now that it's in here, we're stuck here. We are going to literally stir this. Oh, and our chocolate pieces can go in. We're gonna stir this until it thickens. I like to break these up a little bit. I wasn't expecting them to melt so fast though. Whew, okay, hang on. That is an unexpected development. Let me get all the chocolate off of my fingers. Okay, back to stirring. Depending on how high your water is in the bottom, changes how fast this will go to an extent. I used to put too much water in this and I wouldn't get a really big head of steam, and it would cause the cooking process to be slower, because the bigger the head of steam, the hotter it gets. But you need to have a consistent amount of steam too. So we're just gonna stir this. Stir and chat. What we want is for this to thicken up to the point that it coats the back of a spoon and we can run our finger down it without leaving a streak. Which I am going to do something when we get to that point that is a do not try this at home without understanding the fact that you are risking burning yourself. I do not recommend doing it at home unless you know what you are doing. And even then, proceed with extreme caution. Because I'm not here to get anybody burned. I just want to show what it looks like. You'll also be able to tell that it's ready based on how the mixture itself is looking. Grace, you said you don't work today, right? You said we're playing Pal World today, right? It is also okay that right now the chocolate does not appear to be mixed in. Hopefully this is a good angle for you guys. I know my hand is a little bit in the way. Let me see if I can adjust this while I continue to stir. Walking and chewing bubble gum. There. Seems fine to you? Okay, very good. This is also one of those things where if you literally just want a really nice chocolate custard pudding to eat, this is a great recipe. You do not have to put it in a pie. It can be eaten standalone. I will be licking the spoon, just a heads up, and whatever remains in this container because it's delicious and I will not let it go to waste. That being said, this is the chocolate cream version of the recipe. You can also exclude the chocolate squares and it will make a vanilla cream. And if you make the vanilla cream and you wanted to make the banana cream pie like I was talking about at the beginning of stream, all you do is you follow these same steps. Make your pie crust, make your vanilla custard, but before you pour this cream custard into your pie dish, you're gonna slice up a banana and put it in the bottom, and then you pour it over the top and let it solidify, and bam, you've got a banana cream pie. And it's also bomb. Highly recommend. And yes, Seamus, I will make it for you someday. Promise. Maybe around Easter time we can take one to Aunt Kathy's. We can make a chocolate cream and a banana cream. You're mid-laundry. Get partially dry. That's not a bad idea, Carrie. Laundry is on my to-do list today, not for Seamus and I, but for my business, because I have one client tomorrow morning and I really need to change out my sheets. I've also made the decision that regardless of whether I have a client on Monday or not, I am going to get up and go to the office briefly to simply do some cleaning, water the plants, etc., etc. Just as a part of like a way to try and maintain a routine that's somewhat normal. I'm currently on a decent kick of getting up and being awake, and I want to stay there. I just want to be able to stay up a little later at night. I don't mind at this stage in my life getting up at 5:30 in the morning, but I would prefer to pull more of like an 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. sleep time instead of a 7:30 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. because 10 hours of sleep constantly is obnoxious when I would like to hang out with my friends in the evening and chill in their streams and stuff. So if I could make it to at least 11 and, you know, sometimes push it to midnight and still get up at 7 in the morning, that would be awesome. So you can already see that as we've been doing this, the viscosity of the liquid has changed, and it's gonna go pretty quickly from here, from liquid to more of a solid form. And I am gonna prep to be able to pull this off the heat by moving that. Carrie, will you do me a favor in case Seamus still has not heard, and just send him a Discord message on my behalf asking him to please grab at least a half gallon of milk on the way home. You might also want to remind him that the tiramisu ice cream was really good, so he might want to grab another small pint of that or two. All right, you can see it. You can see it starting to thicken. The only reason I'm asking you to do it, Carrie, is because I don't know if he's going to leave work early today, which could be before I have the chance to sit down in front of Discord myself. It is okay, by the way, that it looks chunky right now. It will all come together, I promise. It's also okay that it looks speckly. It will also come together. Sometimes it doesn't come together until right at the end with the speckliness, but it's like a magic trick.
The world's best glompers.
Rukia!
Incoming. Hello, Rukia.
Hello, love. How are you? Rukia, we're making chocolate cream pie with Italian meringue. Welcome in. Yeah, you can see we're getting thick. But as you see, like, as I pull my spoon through it, it kind of just merges back together. That's not where we want to be yet. It will thicken beyond that. Because the last thing you want is something that I've done with these pies more than once by being irritated. Remember how I said I was putting too much water in and didn't have a big enough head of steam? Yeah, I would be here for over 45 minutes stirring this bitch, usually at midnight, because I was a genius at procrastinating. And I would say this was, you know, thick enough and take it and put it in the pie crust and chill it. And it was indeed not thick enough. It would soup up as soon as it wasn't in the fridge. And it would just goop. You want it to be able to hold its shape. You don't want it to goop everywhere when it's sliced. Thank you, Carrie. I'm doing good, Ruki. I'm glad you're doing better. You would like a slice after? He finds this funny? Well, he didn't acknowledge that he heard, so that's on him. Rukia, you come over and you can have a slice. Yep, see? The little speckly bits are going away. The lumps are blending in. Mine has like a little lip to it, so I'm just making sure that everything comes out of the lip. And you can see too, it's getting thicker, so when I cut that streak, it's not immediately filling back in. It's creating ripples when I stir. These are the things that you're looking for. There's a reason why we're using a metal spoon. I will show you that in a minute with that trick that I said I'm going to do, but I do not recommend anybody else do it unless you actually know what you're in for and what you're doing. Yeah, you can see it's like stacking up. It's holding ripples. It's holding its shape. I want to take it just a little bit beyond this. See? Okay, so now I'm gonna pull from the fridge cold water. Set this down. The goal with this is that it will coat the back of a spoon, and when you put your finger through it, it will not mold together, so it coats. Okay, I'm putting my finger in the cold water to create a barrier. Still burns a little, but you can see it doesn't move, so we're done. Turning off the heat. Taking it off the heat. The spoon will basically stand up in it. I'm going to spin you guys so you can see this part. Thank you for contributing to the Phasmophobia Community Day Challenge, and Android starts packing. Heck yeah. She is getting thick. So now we add in our vanilla. 1.5 teaspoons. It does make it seem chunky for a moment. Stir vigorously. And all the lumps go away. She's nice and thick. Okay, let me... God, that's so hot. These handles get hit with the steam that's escaping. Let me take this over to the sink where we have a silicone mat that it can sit on. Rukia, thank you for contributing to the Phasmophobia Community Day Challenge. I appreciate it. All right. Here's my blind baked pie crust. As you can see, pricking the bottom full of holes kept it from doing the bubbly bubbly. We are now literally going to take this and tip it in. I'm just going to use the back of the spoon to jiggle it out to fill the pie crust. This is an 8 3/4 inch pie tin, aka a 9-inch pie tin that I'm using, so you can get an idea of how much pie filling that is. I do not know what that is in centimeters, my apologies, or millimeters, I don't know which it would be. There it is. Now we have to lick the spoon, because that's important. It's so good. We'll lick the spoon. I will lick some of the excess out of here. Oh my God. Delicious. Absolutely amazing. So this pie is now going to go in the fridge to chill. You can turn off the oven light. Ooh. I need oven mitts. So the metal from where I was just, having a flame on is still very hot. That is what got me. So we're just gonna protect ourselves. Slide that in there, take the other one out. Because our next step is making Italian meringue. Okay. Hemlock, it goes well. Le mittens, yes, my hands are fine. We're all good. We're all good. I promise. I am going to put this stuff into the sink and I have to do dishes. So while I am doing dishes, I will not be able to see what is going on with chat, but I will. There's the pie that I've already made. I will give you a view of the sink so that you can at least see me. The reason I have to do dishes is because this part, to make the Italian meringue, requires, in my opinion, the use of the KitchenAid. The reason why it requires the use of the KitchenAid is we are going to be cooking the egg whites, or not the egg whites, we're going to be cooking the sugar and the water to pour into the egg whites, and the mixer needs to be going at the same time. So we're going to wash the dishes. All right, this is cooled down enough to tip the water in. So that can just sit off to the side. It literally boiled water. It's clean. It's basically sterilized. Let me bring these items over actually, so that they can also get cleaned. This is like the least exciting part of cooking and baking, cleanup. We have one task though, and it's getting the KitchenAid mixer bowl clean. Everything else can sit and wait. This is another thing with meringue. Ooh, Jesus. And that is, in order for meringue to set up properly, you don't want any wonky stuff in your bowl. Some people actually will wipe their bowl out with vinegar just to make sure that it's as clean as possible. Since I'm about to like really scrub it, I don't feel the need to do that. But if my bowl had been sitting for a while and I hadn't, like if I was going to be making meringue cookies, I would wipe it out with vinegar first. But since I am cleaning it with piping hot water, I do not feel that need. Just want to make sure I get all of the stuff off the outside from where the flour sprays up. Woo! I can see a little bit in the bottom. La 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 la. La 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 la. And because I'm short, the water's gonna run down my elbows and onto the floor. Hashtag short people problems. Put that there. I want to get this in here with water. Actually, just do that. And that's just so that it can start soaking off anything that has baked onto the outside edges. I may need to wash something in here, but I doubt it for the next part. So Italian meringue, it is cooked sugar into a liquid format that you then tip into egg whites that have been beaten to a soft peak. This recipe, like I said before, comes from Anne Reardon's cookbook called Crazy Sweet Creations. Let me bring you back over to the KitchenAid station. Which is gonna take a little finagling. Because we have exactly one camera. So we do what we can. Had this beautifully set up before. How had I done it? Well, first and foremost, I think the cat moved his box. Please don't put a screensaver on. There we go. There we go. That's better. Okay. So step number 1. Open to the recipe. Just for those who maybe weren't here before, this is the cookbook in question. Highly recommend this cookbook. It's beautiful because not only does it have delicious recipes like these lemon meringue cupcakes, which I have made, can confirm, very good. But she has sections in here that talk about the science of why things happen and what you're looking for. So it's just a really good all-around cookbook. Highly recommend. And I am going to adjust this one last time. There we go. Okay, so we need 3 egg whites. Egg whites from before. Remember, no yolks in them. 1/4 teaspoon cream of tartar. 1 cup of castor sugar or superfine sugar. And remember, like I said before, I don't have easy access to that, and it is okay. I have done this with granulated sugar and it comes out just fine. So if you are like me and do not have easy access to castor sugar, it will work. And then 1/4 cup of water. So, is this my 1 cupper? No, that's my 3/4 cupper. Dang. My 1 cupper is technically in the sink, but you know what? Adapt, improvise, overcome. This is also 1 cup. Josh, hello. I am baking, Josh. I am. There's another magic trick associated with meringue. And that is, if you make your meringue properly, you can take the entire bowl of it and tip it over the top of your head, and it will not fall out on you. If you would like to see me do that trick, I'm gonna need a total of either 500 bits or 2 gifted subs. And then I will tip this meringue over the top of my head when it is finished. That one's a pay-to-play trick. All right, so we're gonna put our 1 cup of sugar into our saucepan, and then we need 1/4 cup of water. Josh is like, bam, 500 bits. Thank you, Josh. It's basically $5 to see me tip this over my head. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. Can I get another shout out for Josh, please? While I get this 1/4 cup of water. All right, so this is gonna go on the stove and it's gonna be left to its own devices. All we're gonna do is wipe the sides down with a pastry brush, and it's gonna be brought up to basically just below softball. You wanna see this? Oh, you're gonna get to see it. In the meantime though, we have to get our egg whites whipping to soft peaks. So in go the egg whites, and our 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. So let me get that started while I go put that other stuff on the stove. Just for you, Josh, I will tip this over my head. Oop. I need the whisk attachment. Oh, did I mention we're gonna play with fire on this stream? Because we're also gonna play with fire on this stream. All right, let that go. Put this on the stove. Seamus will get mad at me if I use that burner again. So I'm just wiping down the edges with my pastry brush real quick. Make sure there's no sugar up there. And then this goes unstirred. We're just gonna let it sit. With a candy thermometer in it. So this is my candy thermometer. Turn that down for a minute so it's not quite so loud. We need it to come up to about 248 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just below softball. You like fire? It's magic. So I'm gonna get this into my pot of sugar. And I'm just gonna let that sit. The KitchenAid is gonna be a little loud for the moment because I need to whip the egg whites up. And the only way to do it is to go fast. Yes, it is the official name. It's a candy thermometer. Where did I? There it is. Candy thermometer. Shut the fuck up, Seamus. I love you. You're such a turd. Goes in the sink for washing. As does this. All right, so soft peaks. Soft peaks. We're basically there. When you lift it up, you want it to come up but flop. So that's a soft peak. And that's where we want it for right now. Lock that in place. Let me see where I'm at with the candy thermometer. Not even close. I'm gonna turn the heat up a little bit. We're in a waiting phase. But I'm gonna bring the pie that's ready for the meringue over here. This is what it looks like when it has solidified. It will crack on the surface a little bit. Sometimes that's fine. This one, I forked the edges. You can kind of see where the tongs were. And it is in a to-go plate because I'm sending it home with my brother. Did it sound like a British accent, Josh? Because it's not my intention, but sometimes I merge into weird accents when I'm excited. Jesus. I saw I had a voicemail. So I took a quiz online at some point about, you can find cheap, like it's one of those sites that's supposed to be able to help you find cheaper car insurance in your area. And apparently State Farm got information from that and they tried to call and they texted and like Excuse me. Better than Brandy's anyway? I'll take it, Josh. I'll take it. That works for me. Well, Elle is British, Seamus. I would hope she has a good British accent. We're at about 158 degrees Fahrenheit. So according to the book, according to the recipe book, this is what it exactly says. You leave it unstirred until it reaches 114 degrees centigrade, also known as 238 degrees Fahrenheit, which on the candy thermometer is just below softball. How unfortunate for her. You know, some people like being British. Just like some people like being American. Not everybody, but some people do. Though Elle came to the States for a little bit. I think she's in the States right now, if I remember right. Alabama. She's escaping to freedom. Oh my God. All right, we're encroaching on 200. So I'm gonna stay over here because now is where I have to actually like pay attention. Because it's climbing fast. We're at 210. And the interesting thing is like the liquid is getting clear. I'm just not going to take the time to spin you around just to spin you back. 218. 220. I don't know if my mic is picking up the sound of it boiling. Probably could make it pick it up. Little ASMR for you guys. Anyways, we're up to about 220, 8-ish. So we have about 10 degrees to go. $230. It is also, by the way, the fact that we are cooking the sugar like this that we don't have to cook the meringue, which is why we're going to be using a kitchen blowtorch. Because I do want it to look toasty. Getting there. Almost. Almost. All right, that should do it. I'm gonna pull the candy thermometer out. And I'm gonna leave it on my spoon rest So here comes the fun part. We have very scalding liquid hot sugar. Hey, Pip. Trying to kick people out of the country. Oh my. And we're going to turn on the mixer. And we're going to pour this down the side of the bowl. And it's important you tip it down the side because you do not want to splatter hot liquid sugar in your face. The mixer has to be running during this. And now we're just gonna let it go until we can safely touch the bowl. Much excite. Yeah, this is the best part. We're just gonna let it go. Let it be to do its thing. And then once I can safely touch that bowl and everything, I will know the meringue is done. It will be at extremely stiff peaks and I will tip it over my head. Because that's how it goes. I also want to put a stream marker in real fast. Oh, do I not have? Yes, to know to go back to look for possible ASMR and to know that coming up soon is me being crazy. To keep the floor neater.
Uh-oh, here comes trouble.
You got excited, Nikki. Oh my God. Carrie, the thing with meringue is if you've done it right, it won't fall out of the bowl. That's why they say you can tip it over your head. If I end up covered in meringue, I fucked up. So, that'll be my own fault. Getting there. This takes about 5 minutes. Covering all the bases. I am prepared, if this goes south, to have to end stream, clean the kitchen, and take a shower. And it will be funny. She will be out here in May. Oh, right. That's broken. She'll be out here. Brandy will be out here. Weeby will be out here. John will be out here. Dylan will be out here. It's going to be exciting. Where are we at? Almost. Can bring this over to my blowtorch. Also, we can wish our condolences to Marissa. I mean, she signed up for this. She's the one who pushed for the marriage, so maybe it's our condolences for Ethan. But I doubt it, because we like Marissa. I'm very excited for her to officially be my sister-in-law. Like really, really, really super excited. You know what? We have an ad coming up. I'm going to run the ad and I will let the meringue finish in that time. It should be good in 2 minutes. And that way nobody misses out on me tipping it over my head. Where did my chapstick go? There it is. Yeah, when the ads are done, it should be good. Gonna be a good time in baking land. And hopefully the mic's not picking up too much of the KitchenAid. You know what's awesome? Having a fatigue mat. Pretty freaking nice. My feet appreciate it. Seamus, this is one of our better purchases, I'm just saying. Nope, nothing weird, okay. Thought something strange had gotten stuck in the pie, but nope. Nothing at all. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, ad break should be over. So this meringue is good and stiff. You can see, like it stands. Knock that into the bowl. Make sure that's actually stuck to its counterparts. Are you ready, Josh? Are you ready for this? Here's the bowl of meringue. Boop. We're good. No meringue has fallen on my head. Let's go. Nikki, thank you for the resubscription for the creme pies. Was it everything you hoped it would be, Josh? Right over my head. All right. Now it goes on the actual pie. Right? It's a trick. I will admit I was a little nervous that maybe I had fucked it up. So when it comes to putting it on your pie, ideally you have a spatula, you can use a spoon. We're just gonna scoop it out. And any excess that you have, because it makes a decent amount, it's like the best marshmallow fluff you have ever tasted in your life. Put it on hot cocoa. I swear to God, you will thank me. I'm just gonna bring it to the edges. I wanna secure it to the pie by securing it to the crust. It sticks to the crust a little bit better. than it does to the custard filling. Honestly, I might have enough here to do both pies. I might not need to make a second batch. But the other pie isn't cool enough yet to put the meringue on. So, that being the case, we wait on that one. That's why I did the first pie ahead of time instead of doing both on stream. So I'm smoothing it to start. But obviously the hallmark of meringue pies is like that toastiness. So now I'm just gonna go whoop. And I'm literally just creating little swoops. Swoops and scoops. And because it's very stiff, it's easy to get it to do this. I still have plenty in my bowl. So like I said, I think I have enough for my other pie as well. And now we get to toast it. Not want it? Oh my gosh, Josh. Ha 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 ha. Do not do this if you are not comfortable with fire. It's like toasting marshmallows, but better. This is just a little butane kitchen torch. This is my first time playing with one, but I've seen them used before. Oh my god, that looks so good. And it does, it just toasts like marshmallows. It smells like toasted marshmallows. I wonder if meringue is the basis of marshmallows. I should look that up. I've never made marshmallows before, but now I'm curious. There she be. There she be. Is that not glorious? Is that not freaking gorgeous? Oh, it smells like roasted marshmallows in here. It smells so good. All right, guys. That's it. We did it. We made pie crust. We made the cream filling, chocolate flavor, and we made Italian meringue, tipped it over our head and did not get it everywhere. Put it on the pie and used fire to toast it. Torch! That's right. This is great, Seamus. I'm so glad that you got it for me. So yeah, that's what we set out to do, and we did it. It is complete. Just gonna turn this so that I can stand a little more comfortably. You're gonna eat it before Ethan gets there? I don't freaking think so. I don't freaking think so. I have a whole second pie, okay? I feel like I might have touched... No, maybe not. All right. So, we now need to find ourselves somebody to go hang out with. To do this, I am actually gonna go migrate back to my desktop. So I'm gonna put you on a quick BRB. I'm gonna move over there and then we will find ourselves a place to go. So 1 second, please.
Sweet. Yes. Oh my. Fuck. Damn it. Seamus! I was doing so good. I was doing so good. You killed me. My dude, why can't you swim? Like a basic life skill here, okay? I'm gonna send you to the Y.
All right, here I am. Let me look for raid target. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really, 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 really appreciate it. Try and stop you. Listen, Seamus, if you eat that pie ahead of time, I will never make you a pie again. That's a promise. Let me see who's doing what. I wonder if Ches is going to keep going. Okay, yeah, she's raiding out, so that's not a place we can go. In the meantime, I can get the messages ready for you. If you are subscribed, this raid message with the mandalas is for you. If you are not subscribed, this one with the hearts is for you. If you're not in the Discord, you should be. The recipes for what we did are in the Discord. So that is definitely something you can go and get if you want to make this yourself. And if you want to follow me elsewhere, here are my socials. Social media is a great way to keep up with me. I'm going to take you over to see Jay Fletcher. We have not rated him before. Later, Pip! He is playing Plate Up right now, so I'm going to take you from real food to fake food. Because, why not? He's super chill, very knowledgeable about Plate Up, and it looks like he has early access to the latest update that's coming out, which is pasta. So let's go say hello to Jay. I will be back on Sunday. I'm planning on playing some more Pal World because I am addicted. And in the meantime, make sure you practice some self-care, look yourself in the mirror, and tell yourself that you love you because you matter. Thank you guys so much for being here, hanging out, baking some pie with me, and just having a chill time. I really appreciate it. You all are wonderful, and you make this worth doing. So I will see you guys on Sunday. And in the meantime, do your best to be happy. Bye-bye.